for a lot of the pigs that are on permanent medication for their entire life, we found the easiest way to give them their medications is with sweets. I've had some where I've had to utilize those Ganjitos Twinkies, depending on the bitterness of the medication, because the sugar helps cover it up. But we use various frostings. We change it up every now and then. You know, try to use stuff without like all the milk and everything in it. I mean, frosting is very, very finicky, but they're huge fans of the buttercream and the strawberry. Not so much the cherry. But we use various medications to help their conditions as they get older. Some of them that have developed osteoarthritis early, or those of them that just have, you know, your normal aches and pains just from getting old, like the rest of us. You know, we use meloxicam, essentially like Motrin, and then they'll get omeprazole every few days to kind of make sure that there's no gastrointestinal issues that'll develop, because we know that if you're on anti-inflammatories for a long period of time, it can cause stomach ulcers and things like that. So we do a lot of the medication based off of their weight. Meloxicam, carprofen, doxycycline, Dosaquan, milk thistle, and we also use boron complex because the boron actually helps the medication absorb better into their system. Oh, I got Declan's cup out here. And then the meloxicam in smaller doses for the smaller animals because it's a little bit more effective on them than it is on the larger ones. Because with the larger ones, you'd have to use a ridiculous amount of pills, and according to the vets, that you're not supposed to give more than 7 of them at a time per day. So for some of our smaller ones, we'll do 3 meloxicam. And Puddin', I switched her from gabapentin. Just because it's more for nerve, and I figured that more for the pain that she's feeling based off of her condition, that the carprofen would be a lot better. So I use 2 for her, and then I also give her the omeprazole as well. And then for Phil and George, they get 3. Phil's old, so is George. He has some hip and joint issues that really helps him move around. Beryl, she's getting bigger, she's getting older. And then Althea. Althea's starting to develop a little bit of a limp as well, just based off of her age. So for Cosmo, Archer, and Spencer, I give them 6 meloxicam. I've had to change medications and adjust them as I see improvements, or I don't see any real improvements at all. So I'll adjust the medications and I'll run it by doc, and I'll be like, hey, this is what I'm seeing, this is what I'm thinking, what do you think I should give? I was thinking this, and he'll either concur or be like, no, try something different. So we do that more often than not, because doc is our like godsend when it comes to medication, and he does a great job when it comes to doing the prescribing everything for us and making sure that the pigs have everything that they need. Doc's just as invested in this as we are. So I also give them SMZ because Cosmo, Archer, and Spencer have those clubfoot, basically. So they've developed osteoarthritis, and their body has actually thrown down massive amounts of calcium around their joints to stabilize them. But they all move around really well. They do a pretty good job with it, and it's just to kind of keep any infection from popping up. Uno has advanced osteoarthritis, where I don't know if it's his genetics or what. He didn't have any injury. He was with us since he was 6 months old, and he's on carprofen. And we put him on carprofen because he's roughly 900 pounds, so he gets 10 of them every 12 hours. And his joints, we took an x-ray, and his joints have actually started to fuse. He doesn't even have flexibility or mobility in his front hooves anymore. 3, 6, 9, 10. And then Choopy is on the same amount as Uno, and it's because Choopy went to the hospital a while back for an injury.
Metal could have gotten in there.
And he had gone back into Gen Pop, and I guess Gen Pop didn't really take too kindly to him trying to come back in and retake his place. So he suffered a pretty severe slash, and it caused some ligament damage. And because he's so tall and he's so long, he's actually starting to sustain a lot of spinal nerve damage based off of his overcompensation, where sometimes his butt will just kind of like collapse underneath him, and he gets that frustrated look like, ah, man, here we go again. And he was on gabapentin, but man, it was really difficult to get him to take the gabapentin. So Roxy Daisy, Goose, Legs, Zeke, Helen, I got everything written down, and I do it every single day, but sometimes I still forget. Romulus, Hank, and I got to get another loaf of bread. But we have all of them on various medications just to kind of help improve their quality of life and their pain and their discomfort all over time. Just like me, man. I mean, we take Tylenol and naproxen on a daily basis around here. And with North Carolina, depending on the weather, I mean, sometimes you think, oh, they're doing great, they're doing awesome, they're running around and they're chasing me and they're playing, and then, you know, it's a 70-degree day in the middle of January, and then the next thing you know, it's 40 degrees, 20 degrees, and they wake up the next day and they're like, oh man, I pushed it way too hard, and they're sore and they're stiff. So it's not that they can't handle the cold, but if North Carolina would make up its daggone mind on weather, at least have a little bit of consistency. So it's just a constant up and down and roller coaster. Erica has the exact numbers, but man, we go through thousands of dollars in medication a month just to make sure that these guys' quality of life still continues to maintain a steady, whatever you want to call it. I can't think of that word right now because I'm trying to think meds at the same time. But this is kind of how we do it, and this is an everyday process. Come rain, snow, sleet, sun, storms, whatever, it doesn't matter. They have to get it, because when they're on the carprofen, a day without it, like, you can actually really tell the difference. So we stay on top of it and maintain that consistency for them. But yeah, this is kind of like a look at the medication. There's actually more sandwiches that I got to make. That was just one container. I actually have 2 containers a day that I hand out. I do feed, make sure there's food and everything in their stomach, and then I give them their medication so that way they don't start throwing up and get an upset stomach and whatnot. So it kind of helps mitigate it. And plus, if you try to give out medication when there's food involved, they're not going to take the sandwich. They're laser focused on that feed. So, but that's a look.